Coming up on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show today.
We're going to talk all about top 10 vegetables you can grow in containers.
As well as bats. They're not bad animals.
No, not at all. And we have author and forager and chef Sara Bir. She's going to talk about foraging, cooking, all good stuff.
Plus your garden questions. That all starts right now. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. So glad you've taken time out of your day to join us on the program, whether you're in Milwaukee, Southeast Michigan, Philadelphia, Banning, California, or anywhere else via the simple radio app, the TuneIn app, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com website under the radio tab, or a podcast replay, or in-studio video replay. Thank you for tuning in. I am your host, Joy Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com is the website in which you can find 1,400 garden videos, short and long format, in a variety of different genres of gardening content, as well as in-studio video and podcast of every episode that we've done on this particular program. The executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
Planting conditions are always favorable with the Power Planter Earth Auger. No matter what the job is, Power Planter has the right size for you. Simply attach to a drill and let the Power Planter do the work for you. Create planting holes fast and efficiently with ease. No matter the soil type, it does the job effortlessly. Increase your root to soil contact. Leave the shovel and the spade in the shed. Hand welded and made in the USA. We offer a lifetime warranty on product defects. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com. We've had fun with the Power Planter planting our tomatoes last week.
And we're going to do it again, and it's a phenomenal tool. Even in wet conditions, it works really well. And they have multiple sizes to choose from for your planting, for whatever you're planting, whatever you need. There's several sizes available. You can reach us in a variety of different ways, and they all revolve around the IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard hotline.
The IV Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields pruned and damaged surfaces for use on your roses, fruit, nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. The product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, visit ivorganics.com. You can reach us by the ivorganics.com 3-in-1 Plant Guard email inbox, and that address is twvgshow@gmail.com. Or you can text us on the Instant Access ivorganics.com text line, and that's 414-368-9311. You can tweet us using hashtag TWVG. Our Twitter handle is at TWVG Show. Don't forget our text line is at 414-368-9311.
We want to welcome you to the program. We're going to get into the program, and it's the beginning portions of summer, and it's a good time. We're still fighting trying to get our garden planted due to the wet conditions. But maybe you don't have ground in which to grow in and you still want to have a garden. Well, you can certainly do that by growing in containers. And we're going to go over 10 vegetables in which grow very successfully in containers that you can start this weekend or right now, whenever you're able to do such.
Right. So tomatoes grow really nice in containers. You do want to, and with any container, you want to make sure that you have good drainage.
Right, and it's adequate size for the crop in which you are growing. We just can't grow a tomato in a 1-gallon grow bag, a traditional indeterminate or determinate tomato. Now, there are tiny Tim tomatoes that grow about 16 inches high that do very well in a 1-gallon grow bag. There's exceptions to all the rules. We recommend, and we grow a lot of our produce in containers as well as the ground, and we use root maker grow bags and raised beds. It's a very beneficial product in which you can grow, and they have multiple sizes from 1 gallon all the way up to 60-gallon and square raised pop-up beds as well.
Right.
So let's talk about some of these most common vegetables in which you can grow in containers. And before we get, what do we want to fill our container with?
You want to fill it with a really nice potting soil mix, something that has a granular fertilizer, like a slow-release fertilizer, or you could just do straight compost. And
compost has plenty of nutrients in it, and you can add fertilizer, Dr. Earth fertilizer, at the time of planting, which is recommended because these plants are heavy feeders and do require feeding throughout the growing season. So, number one, many people are going to know this is coming, tomatoes. Tomatoes you can grow very successfully in a container. Now, we want to grow how big? People always ask, how big of a container do I need? Well, the answer is how much space do you have available?
Right. Tomatoes, especially the indeterminate variety, could use more nutrients. So you definitely, if you have a bigger container, it's not a bad idea. But a 5-gallon bucket-sized container is good for tomatoes.
Or that's the equivalent to a 10-gallon grow bag. The measurements are a little different between dry and wet, but that's what we're looking at when it comes to that. And even a half of a whiskey barrel would be adequate, because a determinate gets, 2 to 4 feet tall, roughly, give or take.
Right.
An indeterminate will grow, we've had them grow up to 6-7 feet tall before, very successfully, because they will grow until you kill them or the weather kills them. So keep that in mind. And the cherry variety seems to be more prolific because they don't take as long to produce, and you can get 200 to 500 cherry tomatoes off of one plant during growing season if the conditions and your nutrients in the soil is all in good working shape there.
Right. So then we have peppers. You could grow 2 peppers per 5-gallon bucket size or 10-gallon grow bag
now,
size.
why is that? Why would we cram them in 2 and a 5?
Peppers are friendly plants, so you want to grow them next to each other. That way their leaves can touch when they're more growing. They like to have a companion or a friend around.
And we still do need to feed the soil.
Oh, definitely.
We want to feed the soil, not feed the plant, because when we feed the soil, and this, we start out with, in containers or raised beds, we're starting out with a good mix. Whether it's a compost mix or a potting soil mix, we're starting out with something rather than just ordinary ground soil in the backyard. So we've already got a leg up on the fight here. And we do want to add fertilizer as required by the recommended rate on the back of the package a couple of times throughout the growing season, especially in containers, because the leaching out from rain and watering, leaching out is the water taking that nutrient out of the container and flushing it out, just the natural progression that it happens. In the ground, you don't get that as much because there's not a bottom to the ground, essentially, and the microorganisms can recirculate some of that back up into the root zone of the plant.
Right. So that's, herbs. Herbs are good. Now, herbs, you don't necessarily have to grow in a 5-gallon bucket, but the reason why we kind of refer to a 5-gallon bucket, because it's a visual, most people can visualize that. People have easy access to those. So you can grow some in a 5-gallon bucket, but you can also grow them in a smaller, hanging basket.
5-gallon bucket, if you do choose to use a 5-gallon bucket, we want to put drainage holes in it, and we want to make sure that 5-gallon bucket is food grade. We don't want to go down to the local oil change shop and get a 5-gallon bucket that had 10W30 in it, because that has leached into that plastic.
Right.
There are
So
food grade plastic buckets.
Right. Sometimes even if, a local restaurant, we picked up a bunch for $1 each. At a restaurant one time when we were out giving talks. So you can find them at restaurants. Even if you just go to a big box store, they'll have them there, and those are food grade.
The next one, eggplant. Eggplant, 1 per 5-gallon bucket or 1 per 7-gallon grow bag, kind of in that range. Works very well. Many different varieties of eggplant which you can buy. You can go to the garden center here in Milwaukee. You can go to Bloomell's. Your local garden center, independent garden center, still has plants. Check them out, because they have already got them established. They're already hardened off. They're ready to go right in the ground. Not a whole lot of maintenance that needs to be upfront work for you. Soil, fertilizer, container, plant.
So then also carrots and beets. Any root crop is going to do well in a container. Root crops like that nice, loose, loamy soil. So if you have a container and you grow your root crops in there, they're going to be able to grow, expand in that nice, loose soil.
We're only able to successfully grow carrots in containers, yes. And you can go to the website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, and search carrot planting. We've got a very successful method by using cardboard to suppress or to retain moisture around the seed coat to get a better 80% plus germination rate on your carrots. Beets and peas. Let's look at those. Beets
are another root crop option that you can put in a container.
With these containers, you want to follow the square foot gardening method to the best of its ability, because that's a really good guideline. In order, like a 5-gallon bucket's about 1 square foot, so you put 16 carrots in a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah.
About 9 beets, something. Well,
I think it's 9.
6 beets would be successful if you really want big beets, and we've done successful beets in containers as well.
Now, peas, I typically visualize peas being grown in the ground or raised bed, but you can grow them in in a container. With that, you would want to plant them. You want to trellis them. So you need to trellis your peas. So you have to come up with a trellising system. It doesn't have to be fancy. You could take an old tomato cage, put that in there, tie some extra strings around it for the peas, and then you have your peas.
We've got a raised bed that we found, just made out of, it's about 1 foot wide by 2 foot long on the porch. And I've got the tiny tom peas in it, which only get about 8 inches tall, very compact pea. That is very prolific, and those are from M.I. Gardner. Peas you plant early in the spring and in the fall. They do not do well in the summer heat. Same as the next one here on the list, which is lettuce.
Right. So lettuce is another spring or fall plant, and just you don't need a deep pot for this. You could definitely grow it in like a hanging basket type of container. That's not a problem. But
we want to be aware that whatever container we grow in, the less soil we have in that, the less of the mass of soil, the quicker that that container is going to dry out. The more mass, the more water retention, the longer it's going to be between waterings. You can also mulch your containers with a variety of different items: straw, chemical-free grass clippings, pine needles. Put a little layer of sand on top of them. Pine needles or pine cones. I've seen that, and just whatever we can do to create a barrier to slow down the evaporation.
You could even do newspaper.
Newspaper, yes.
So
leeks.
Yeah, leeks. Those are kind of part of the onion family. Leeks. I don't know. A lot of people don't realize they can grow leeks in their garden. Some people think leeks grow in like bogs or marshes, but leeks are they're like onions. They grow in the ground, but they're just they look like a broomstick handle, like an
onion without a bulb.
An onion without a bulb, yeah.
And traditionally, the United States here in North America, we've been conditioned to eat just the white portion of the leek. The whole plant can be utilized as an edible plant. Many countries saute the whole thing up, for example, in a cooking example here. So just don't utilize that white portion. Use the whole plant up. It has the same texture, same flavor, same nutrient value. And finally, number 10 here, beans.
So you can grow bush beans or pole beans. If you grow pole beans, you definitely want to trellis of some sort.
And bush beans work very well. You can get 9 per square foot. Again, we've mentioned this on the program. Pole beans, if you're going to do that, they're going to produce 2 to 3 times more beans per plant compared to a bush bean plant over the growing season, simply because of the duration of time that the pole bean plant grows compared to the bush bean plant. So those are just some of the many different, some of the dozens of plants in which you can grow in containers. Again, make sure the size is adequate, make sure you have enough moisture in it, and the plant can grow in full or partial shade. Well, when we come back, it's all about bats. They just don't scare you. They're very beneficial to the garden. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Use Twitter to reach Joey and Holly at TWVG Show or hashtag TWVG.
Pomona's Universal Pectin is high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar, honey, or any alternative sweetener you'd like. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Available at most natural food stores and online.
The Norwalk Juicer is the best cold-pressed juicer on the market. Studies have shown the Norwalk Juicer produces 50 to 100% more juice than other juicers. And juice from the Norwalk is higher in minerals and nutritionally superior. Not only do you get more juice from your produce, but also better quality juice. Check it out at NorwalkJuicers.com. Use coupon code GardenTalk to get free continental U.S. shipping on the Model 290 juicer. Drip Garden is a self-watering, self-fertilizing, pop-up vertical garden with automatic timer. Easy to use, durable, grow 36 plants in a 4-foot by 4-foot area. dripgarden.com. EcoGarden Systems is a revolutionary way to grow food. A fully contained raised platform with a conventional watering system. Solar power unit optional. Made from recycled material in the U.S., EcoGarden Systems raised garden bed offers sustainable organic gardening that is environmentally sound, quick and easy to set up, maintain, and fun to use. Fill your garden with soil and plant your seeds. Your EcoGarden will take care of the rest. Can set up in backyard, patio, and even your driveway, any level surface. For more information, visit EcoGardenSystems.com. Use coupon code WIVEG 2019 and get $295 off listed price of $1,695 plus free shipping, a $250 value at EcoGardenSystems.com. Garden seeds do not have to cost a fortune, just 99 cents at migardener.com. Now with over 450 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, and organic flower, vegetable, and herb seeds available year-round. Pay less and get more seeds. Shipping as low as $2.50. That just makes sense. Go to migardener.com for seeds and garden needs, tools, and special blend fertilizers. migardener.com. It's that simple. Family owned and operated. The power of mulch. This garden tip is sponsored by BioSafe. Organic solutions that are effective. They offer an array of eco-friendly products, from plant food to fertilizer to one-of-a-kind herbicides, organic weed killer. Grow stronger, healthier with BioSafe. Visit biosafe.net to learn more and save 10% on your next order by using coupon code TWVG at checkout. Never underestimate the benefits of using mulch. From a weed suppressant to a moisture retention tool to keep your soil covered, it will keep your soil healthy. Whether you use chemical-free, seed-free grass clippings, leaves, shredded paper, or even straw. Root Assassin, a garden tool that does all the root functions with its advanced shovel that has serrated edges on both sides. Find out more information at rootassassinshovel.com.
Never question your garden soil again. Know what's in your soil with confidence. Professional grade soil test for the home gardener. My Soil Savvy has the easiest soil test on the market. Ship it to them, get your report, emailed with nutrients recommendation, and grow happy, healthy plants. MySoilSavvy.com. Use coupon code TWVG19 and save 10% at checkout.
Here at Outpost Natural Foods, it's not just that we're community-owned that sets us apart. It's the fabulous foods we sell. We celebrate Earth Day every day by offering our customers the finest natural and organic food selections in Greater Milwaukee. Outpost local farmers and vendors provide our stores with a delicious selection of fresh seasonal produce that you won't want to miss. Outpost stores are located in Milwaukee, Wauwatosa, Bayview, and Mequon. We're a real Milwaukee original where anyone can shop and anyone can join. For the whole scoop about Outpost, we invite you to visit www.outpost.coop.
When it comes to bulk landscaping materials, Blue Mills Garden and Landscape Center is where everyone goes. Whatever the project, we have the materials you need with over 40 varieties to choose from. Soils, mulches, gravels, decorative stones, fresh cut sod. Blue Mills has these products in stock and ready for easy pickup or fast delivery. So what are you waiting for? Now is the time to get your yard back into shape. Stop in and pick these materials up or call us for delivery today. Nobody does bulk landscaping materials better than Blue Mills Garden and Landscape Center.
Blue Mills, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Ivy Organics, Power Planter, Root Assassin, Beans and Barley, BioSafe, Bobex, Pomona Universal Pectin, Pro Plugger, Standard Process, Tomato Snaps. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show.
Well, if I know so much, how come I ain't rich?
Some of the wealthiest people are the ones with the least amount of money, Mike.
Oh, can I write that down?
Yeah, that's yours. You can use that.
With your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Dr. Earth is committed to clean and healthy gardening through creating cutting-edge, natural, and organic-friendly products. Based on research and innovation, after 28 years, they are the leader in organic lawn and garden industry. They do not use ingredients such as biosolids or composted household waste or synthetic chemicals. Instead, they have manure-free fertilizer, organic soils, insect control, and liquid fertilizers. If you want to grow the best quality food organically to feed your family, that is the founding principles of what Dr. Earth is all about. They have experts to find the most innovative ways to help you grow your best organically. Visit drearth.com for more information on where to buy.
When it comes to bats, people are frightened by bats for a variety of different reasons, whether from childhood movies or just the uncertainty of what a bat may do. But bats are very beneficial to the ecosystem and your backyard. Now, Holly, how many, there's all different kinds of species of bats. How many different varieties of bats are there in the United States and the world for that matter?
Well, there are more than 1,300 species worldwide and 47 in the United States.
Okay.
And bats are not normally aggressive, and they will avoid contact with humans.
Well, I hold that thought, because just like any animal, if you show aggression towards it, some of them will show aggression towards you.
Right.
But it's one of them, leave it alone, they leave you alone kind of mindset.
Like,
okay.
Bats are kind of sneaky.
Okay.
So
they're nocturnal?
They're nocturnal.
Okay.
But the likeliness of you having a run-in with a bat is very low. You're probably going to have a run-in with a pigeon more than a bat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what do we want? What do we need to know? People think, bats are horrible, they're bad, they're spooky, they're scary. What are some of the things that we need to be aware of that maybe some of our listeners are unaware of, the positive things about bats?
Bats are our friends. So we want bats around. Bats do a lot of cool stuff. One bat, here's a fun fact. Okay. One little brown bat. So typically in the United States, they're brown bats, the fruit bats, they're little, tiny little bat friends.
Size of a small bird, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. That type of, okay.
Smaller. They're very small.
So they would fit in the palm of your hand if it was sitting there? Okay.
So they're helpful. So one bat can eat 60 moths or even 1,000 mosquitoes in one night.
Busy little bat.
Busy little bat, right. So they like to eat the moths and the mosquitoes. They eat the bad bugs. So that's good.
And we've got the mosquitoes that can carry these diseases. And if the bats don't bother you and they're getting rid of the mosquitoes, win-win.
Right, exactly. In the United States, but a lot of times, like in the rainforest, they help spread seeds, so they help regenerate trees. Because they eat those tropical fruits, they spread the seeds through that way and through their waste and whatnot, and then they help regenerate trees. So that's good.
And they pollinate a lot of plants.
Yeah.
Whether we were aware of it or not, yeah.
They move from plant to plant. They also like to eat the nectar, so then they help pollinate those plants as well. Now,
people often refer to bats as they'll drink my blood if they bite me, that type of thing. I think the count never did that on Sesame Street. He just counted things, but he had bats.
He had bats.
He had bats, but he never. The bats never hurt anybody.
No,
they were on sticks too, so that would have been a little difficult.
That's just a myth. So
it's a myth. So, okay.
It is a myth. I mean, I'm sure there are bats in other countries that maybe eat
shown aggression towards could bite
but
you.
But in the United States, it's fruit bats. It's kind of like they leave you alone, you leave them alone. It's good.
So you don't have to worry about them. You sitting on the patio and they coming on your neck and biting you. That
would be really odd.
That's a very uncharacteristic thing about a bat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So people do attract bats to their property, and they do it in a variety of different ways. One is called a bat house. And there can be large bat houses and small bat houses. Essentially, Holly, what is a descriptional bat house, if we can describe that?
So a bat house looks like it's a very thin wood box. It's often painted black. It's probably about 2 inches thick by 11 inches tall by 11 inches wide.
Typical one. I mean, they can get much larger, but that's a standard smaller.
Yeah, but they're very thin. So, because the bats, they're trying to mimic, because bats will nest kind of in between the bark of a tree, like literally in between the bark of a tree. So they want a small area to nest. And then they have their babies. Bats are mammals. They have their babies, and then they go from there. So they want to have a small space for them to nest. And so the important part about having the bat house is where you're putting the bat house. That's important because you want to put it in a high place, but not a tree. Because if you put it in a tree, bats are afraid of predators, and a predator could get it faster in a tree. So you want to put it on a pole or on the side of your house in a sunny spot, because the sun during the day is going to heat up that bat house because they're typically painted black. It's going to heat up that bat house, and that way the bats have a warm place to be.
And there can be dozens of bats in one bat house.
Yes.
And you can construct your own bat house.
You can construct your own.
It's called YouTube. You can find pretty much anything you want on YouTube. So,
but you can also, when you construct your bat house, you can also register it with, I think it's the Nature Conservancy. You'd have to Google that. And then you are a wildlife refuge in a sense.
So
and you can register as a national.
Are you certified then? Or it just registered showing that your property
I don't
or
know
that
if it's certification, but you can register that.
But it's licensed. It's notified by the state in which you're in.
I think it's national.
National, that shows that you are a safe haven for.
You're a safe haven for the bats.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's cool. Like if you're into certifications or whatever.
And it's probably free or very.
Yeah.
Oh, it is free?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So there's that. They encourage you to build your own bat house as opposed to buying it, but whatever.
There are companies out there that do manufacture
sure.
very nice bat houses, and you can and people will put them on a pole, like you said, out over a garden area, or there's recommendations side of the house. Now, if we was to go to the purchasing or building of a bat house, and we're in a residential or a city area. Rural areas, country are a little different. Do we have to get permission from the city? Do we have to get a license? What do we have to do?
It should be legal in most cities. You can check with your city. There might be something where they want you to be X amount of whatever from adjacent property.
I know beekeeping, you have to be so many feet away from adjacent property lines.
I guess it's like this. If you're going to add anything onto your home, you're going to check with the city anyway, more than likely. If you live in an area that has like a housing authority or an HOA or whatever those are, definitely check with them as well.
Yeah. If you're in the country, you can probably get away with a lot of stuff. Yeah. And
also the bat house, you want to make sure that you have water somewhere, because a lot of times when the mothers give birth to the bats, they don't want to have to fly far to get to the water, so that way it's an inhabitable place for them.
What type of water system do we want? Do we want we encourage birds? We encourage to have bird feeders in the garden, like a bird bath.
Yeah, it could be a bird bath.
So we can benefit.
You're not going to see the bats.
No, you're not going to see them. But if you're benefiting two species here, bird bath, water for the birds, feeding the birds, getting them travel through the garden, and then also using that bird bath as a beneficial watering system for
you could have like a whole ecosystem in your backyard. I mean, there's a whole ecosystem in your backyard, but you could have like birds, bats, bees, beets,
butterflies.
Yeah. Bears. Maybe not bears.
But people are not aware that bats are
your friends.
Bats are very beneficial.
Yeah, so let's review here. Bats, they're not going to attack you. They mind their own business. They're like the good neighbor, They pollinate. They help pollinate. They help eat the bad bugs. They eat mosquitoes. Like, hello, mosquitoes are not our friends. We don't like mosquitoes, so they eat the mosquitoes. And if you want to have some fun with the bats, you want to help the bats, build a bat house. Check out how you could get registered as a wildness friend. You don't have to do that, but yeah.
And it's not. There's no. If you build it, they will come. Is that kind of the mindset of this? I mean, they seek out. It's not like you don't want to find a bat shop or I don't.
It's like when you put a birdhouse in your garden, and in 6 hours there's a bird.
The realtor checks in, and then
same thing with the bats. Yeah.
So that if you've never looked into, if you have an insect problem, this definitely is something that we would recommend you looking into bats. And you can find out, I'm sure there's multiple species of bats. Now, and maybe you don't know this, is it typically the bat house houses one specific species, or can multiple species of bats live in one house together?
I didn't look into that.
Okay. So keep that in mind.
I think it would just be one, whatever is kind of in your area.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now is the time that weather is warming up, Holly, and you'll want to protect your garden from various beetles, weevils, and borers, including those fun and nasty Japanese beetles. Well, they're not fun, but they're annoying, and they'll destroy a whole plant system very, very quickly.
And what better way to prevent those pests from destroying your garden than by controlling them when they are larvae? Grub Gone is an easy-to-apply granule product that can spread on your turf to successfully control grub invaders. Developed by Phylum Bioproducts from a naturally occurring bacteria, Grub Gone is a non-chemical BT product that specifically targets only certain scarab pests and is safe to use around bees and other beneficial insects.
Yes, if you are ready for, got those beetles flying around your yard, Beetle Gone is the organic water-soluble powder that you can spray directly on your edible plants. Find out more at phyllumbioproducts.com. That's PHYLLOM bioproducts.com. Next, don't go anywhere. Sara Bir will be with us, author of Finding Edible Fruits. You're listening to Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener.
Got a question? Email the show at twvgshow@gmail.com.
Power Planter is a family-owned earth auger manufacturer. The Power Planter Earth Auger will transform your garden experience. It helps homeowners and professionals complete almost any planting or digging project faster and more efficiently than using a shovel or a spade. Power Planter Earth Auger creates loose dirt when drilling holes, giving your plants better root-to-soil contact to help reduce plant loss for healthier, more beautiful trees, shrubs, flowers, vegetables, and grass. All of our augers are hand-welded and made in the USA, lifetime warranty. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com.
The number one key to healthy, productive plants are the roots. Starting from seed to full-grown plants, rootmaker.com has the answer. From seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots, creating a fabulous root system, never again will you have root-bound plants, to multiple gallon grow bag sizes to raised beds. Rootmaker.com has your grow needs covered. Visit rootmaker.com. Shield and Seal vacuum sealers and the highest quality vacuum sealing products, unique black and clear and all black bags, protecting your produce and product better than traditional bags. Find out more at shieldandseal.com. Soil is the lifeblood of your garden. If you don't keep it healthy, you will not have a good garden at all. This Michigan Garden Moment is brought to you by migardener.com. With over 450 varieties of heirloom and organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents a pack. Find out more at migardener.com. There are many ways in which organically you can feed your soil to keep your garden healthy and producing. We want to feed the soil and not feed the plants. The soil will feed the plants and allow them to grow healthy. You can use Dr. Fertilizer, Ivy Organic 6 Macro Fertilizer. You can go to migardener.com and purchase their Trifecta Fertilizer. There are also organic means you may have on your property already. Chemical-free, seed-free grass clippings can contain up to 5% nitrogen. Coffee grounds that you get from your local coffee shop, typically requiring a bucket, and call ahead, and a day's time they will have that filled up. They will also include the filters, and you can work those into the ground as well. Coffee grounds contain about a 2% nitrogen by weight, a tad of potassium, and a tad of phosphorus. You want to work those coffee grounds in, as if you just broadcast them, the nitrogen will evaporate into the atmosphere. The acidity that once was in the coffee has been brewed out, so you don't have to worry about that messing with your soil pH. You can certainly use compost to top off your raised beds, your containers, or top dress your ground garden. Whatever the means are, you want to do it organically. You can also grow plants like comfrey that contain a lot of nutrients in which you can work into your soil as the plant leaf that begins to break down. Feed your soil, not your plants, and have a healthy garden. This Michigan Garden Moment is brought to you by migardener.com. With over 450 varieties of heirloom and organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents a pack. Find out more at migardener.com.
Dermaceuticals essential oils are high grade, very pure, and high in quality. They have synergized blends made with the finest raw materials. For more information and to order, visit dermaceuticals.com.
New Natural Healing Ointment, USDA certified organic. Get your tube at nunuhealing.com.
Your plants are greener when using Hydrobox, revolutionary in plant watering. Hydrobox catches the water from water and delivers it straight to the roots to release when plants need it. You will water 3 times less often and plants grow faster. Hydrobox is an innovative little gel-filled pouch that goes in the bottom of a pot, container, or grow bag. Multiple sizes based on need. Easy to install and use. For indoor and outdoor use. Saves time and money. Lasts up to 3 years. Look for it at HomeDepot.com or visit GoHydrobox.com.
The new way to support your tomatoes, wrap it and snap it. TomatoSnaps.com. World's coolest raingauge.com. Need I say more? Take the pain out of planting with the Pro Plugger 5-in-1 planting tool. Step, twist, pull, and you're ready to plant. Digs perfect size planting holes. Soil gets stored in the tube and empties from the top. Helpful for weeding. ProPlugger.com. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Eco Garden Systems, Row Maker, Shield and Seal, World's Coolest Rain Gauge, Big Fats Hot Sauce, Chapin International, Drip Garden, Norwalk Juicers, Nunu Healing Ointment, Phylum Bioproducts, Soil Savvy, Tree Ripe. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
As we move into the growing season, a lot of people don't realize that they can plant a lot of items in containers or pots. And Blue Mills has exactly what you need just for this. They have all sorts of bulk material and even pots you can grow in.
As well as they still have vegetables and fruits and native plants in which you can grow in those containers. And yes, they have plenty of bulk material. They will guide you in the direction that you need to go in order to have the best success in growing in those containers or growing in the ground or topping off those raised beds.
You can find Blue Mills at BlueMills.com. Go to 4930 West Loomis Road, just south of Layton and Greenfield, or call 414-282-4220.
And tell them Joey and Holly.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Holly, let's go to the IB Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard Hotline and bring in our guest for this week.
Sara Bir is an author, chef, foodie, cooking class teacher, forager speaker, and even a roller derby player. She graduated from the Culinary Institute of America and prefers to create recipes that draw her professional skill set, yet are realistic for home cooks. She lives in Ohio, where she does all of these things and more. Welcome to the program, Sara.
Sure.
So you are quite passionate about foraging. First of all, for those of our listeners who may not be familiar with that term, what is foraging? And then how did you get into this this craft of foraging?
First of all, foraging is going around and looking for edible plants and then bringing them home and enjoying them to eat. And I include under the umbrella of foraging not just wild plants, but ornamental trees that might be growing in your neighborhood. So you don't have to go out into the woods to forage. You can just forage in your neighborhood. And I got into it because I'm really restless and I'm cheap. I like to go on walks. And I started noticing all the wonderful plants in my neighborhood and started bringing them home.
And that's the thing that people don't, realize, that you don't have to go down in the woods, across the creek and up the hill to find fruits or mushrooms or whatever the case is. If you just are a little more look around, people can be very surprised at what's very close to their residence.
Exactly, yes. Every time you leave your house, you could be noticing plants. And you don't even have to be collecting them to be foraging. It's more about collecting ideas and observing patterns. Did you guys ever go out in the woods when you were kids and pick blackberries and eat them?
Yes. Well, Holly, you probably never picked blackberries.
Well, we went out into the woods, but we didn't eat anything that was growing because that was like...
You didn't know if you were going to die.
Yeah, big no-no.
Yeah. I grew up on a farm. We picked anything. Well, we knew what we could eat and what couldn't. So blackberries was a very prolific item from where I was from. Now, my grandfather's 82 years old, and he will not eat a blackberry pie because as a child he was forced to pick wash tubs full of blackberries, so that kind of cursed him for life. But yes, to answer your question in short, yes.
Yes, and I think experiences like that, even though we might not frame them as foraging, oftentimes those are our first foraging experiences. So if you've ever gone out and picked blackberries, whether it was for fun or against your will, then you've been foraging. And I like foraging for fruit because it's familiar. So I started getting curious about fruits and wanting to know about some of the more esoteric ones. But in general, foraging for fruit is a great place to start because we all know what apples look like. We know what crab apples look like. We know what raspberries look like. So you should always make a good, positive plant ID before you bring something home and try it. But there are a lot of easy ways to do that. And once again, the more familiar the plant is to you, the less fear you'll have in trying something for it.
Right, definitely. Now, for a lot of people, they could also, when they're on their walking around their neighborhood or whatever, maybe they see fruit trees that are growing. Is there any sort of rule to that? Maybe that tree technically belongs to somebody's yard, but if it's hanging over the sidewalk, is that fair game? Does it depend on what's going on in the city? Or
Yes, it depends on what's going on with the city. So there's a checklist I go through in my head. Is this thing technically edible? Is it safe to eat? Has it potentially been sprayed with pesticides? But another thing on that checklist is this legal for me to be taking? And there are ways you can find that out. Oftentimes if there is let's say a lemon tree and the branches are dangling over a fence onto the sidewalk side, then that fruit's fair game. But another question I ask is, will taking this make me a jerk? And the easiest way to answer that question is to get permission. So just go up and knock on that person's door. I don't really like doing cold calls like that. I used to hate selling Girl Scout cookies back in the day when you would actually go around from house to house. But my obsession with fruit trumps my fear of talking to strangers. And I've had some wonderful conversations with people in my neighborhood, and I wouldn't have talked to them if it weren't for my obsession with, my neighbor's fig tree, for instance. So I've ended up establishing relationships with people because of this. And we live in such a closed way, I think. Foraging actually is about plants, but it ends up being about people and about sharing. So if you're ever in doubt about something, find a person and ask them. They'll love to talk to you. I've never had anybody say, no, you can't have that. I mean, it can happen one day, but it hasn't happened yet.
Well, and that's the surprising thing. People don't expect you to ask that question, and they're probably very happy that somebody's willing to take that produce or that fruits, because it's just going to sit on the ground and rot anyway, because they don't have a use for it, or if they did, they would have already picked it up.
That's an excellent point, and I'm certain many of your listeners who have fruit trees have experienced they're a gift, but also a bane. And there have even been times when I've asked about a fruit tree and the people who owned the property didn't know what kind of fruit it was. This happened with a quince tree once, and I think even with a crabapple tree. You know, people move into houses and you inherit these trees, and they just might not be that into them. Or maybe you do love the trees, but you don't need 75 bushels of plums.
Definitely. Now, many of us have a number of fails in the world of gardening, cooking, what have you, life, and that is a part of life. But you have a really positive outlook on failure. How have you used this in your world of foraging, cooking, writing, what have you?
When you have failures, you end up having to use your problem-solving skills to recover from that. And ultimately, you end up learning more. So it's good for your creativity. Sometimes the result you get, even though it is not what you were hoping for, ends up being better than the result you initially thought you'd have. So, and then sometimes it's just a disaster, right? But when I teach cooking classes, I always tell people, if you make a mistake here, this is the best place for it to happen, because we're going to learn together different ways to fix it. And in terms of gardening, sometimes failures can be difficult because you put a lot of work into it, and you need to wait a whole year until you can try the thing again. But you learn more. These things, it's all part of the long game, whether it's making dinner or whether it's trying to grow tomatoes or whether I am harvesting autumn olives and I picked them too early. You just do it again and again and again. And through that repetition, you get these intuitive skills. And I don't think we have the opportunity to do that in our lives that much anymore. It's part of what we need, and it's part of what makes us human. So a failure it's just an experience that it's up to you to make it into something positive. And that's something, that mindset you can apply to so much in your life, too.
Yeah, you have to take the negatives and turn into a positive and find something good about it. You love to cook at home, and who doesn't like a good home-cooked meal? Any advice on people who have a very hectic lifestyle and how can they make that fit into their lives when they want to have that home-cooked meal, but that convenience of driving through the drive-thru and paying $14 for a meal they vote for that other than the home-cooked meal.
Yes. Even though I myself cook at home as part of my job, I'm a recipe developer, I still have this problem. Can you believe that? I still have times when we just don't have something that's ready to eat on those hectic evening nights. So what I like to do is set aside an afternoon and do some batch cooking. Even if you don't like cooking, you can just think of it as a way to knock some stuff out and have it ready, and you get those payoffs later on. So that's one way. But another way is I like to forage my kitchen, and I look around, and because sometimes I just don't want to go shopping. Sometimes I'm even too lazy to go get a take-and-bake pizza. All right, I'm a chef, but I have no problem with a take-and-bake pizza. Sometimes I'm too lazy to do that, so I'll think, what do I have in my kitchen right now that I can make a simple meal from? And that's where my creativity sparks. Some people might not feel very comfortable with that because that's just not how their brain works. But if you think of leftovers as shortcut ingredients instead of boring leftovers. So if you have mashed potatoes, maybe you can make them into mashed potato cakes, fry some eggs, put those on top, have a salad on the side. It's not that hard. You're cutting down your food waste. You're saving time because you're saving that trip to the store. And you kind of have a little win because you used your brain to solve a problem and you feel good about yourself. So that's my approach to home cooking. And that's probably, I think there's something in that hopefully your readers can, that your listeners will be able to apply that makes sense in their own lives.
Well, let's talk about reading. Let's talk about your book, The Fruit Forager's Companion. What can you tell us about that? Just kind of give us some little tips of what we can find when we go purchase the book.
Definitely. This book is a foraging guide with recipes. So it tells you how to identify many different fruits. Some of them are quite familiar because they're growing ornamentally, like lemons, figs, pears. And some of them are a little more unusual. So I talk about service berries. I talk about autumn olives. I talk about, what else? Oh, spice bush. Lots of really fun, less familiar plants. So there's that whole range of them. But the other thing I do is tell you when to harvest them, how to identify them, how to store them, what to do when you have just a little handful, what to do when you have many, many, many of these things, and also tell you what the flavors are. That's something that's lacking in a lot of foraging guides. It's important to know how to harvest the plants and how to identify them. But as a chef, I want to know how things taste. So I give people recipes for a lot of these things, too, and that way they can give something a shot, and the recipes are designed with flavor in mind. There are a lot of recipes for foraged things that are pies and preserves, and those are great, but you don't have to take foraged fruit and make a pie or a preserve just because that's what we're used to. Some of these have flavors that are better served by using them almost as spices or as accents. So those are things that I offer in my book. I give people tools for foraging, but also for thinking about flavor and the best way to highlight these ingredients they've gone out and gathered with so much love and care.
Right. So, okay, tell us where we can find you and your books, your website, etc.
Sure. You can find my website. It's sausagetarian.com, and that's spelled like sausage and vegetarian smashed together, all in one word. You can order my books on that website, but you can also get them hopefully you can order it from your favorite local independent bookstore, but you can also get them online from the big, massive conglomerate that we get everything from. And once again, on my website, you can get my books as well.
Well, Sarah, we greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day to enlighten us, Holly, myself, and all of our listeners when it comes to food foraging and what we need to be aware of and how to go about doing it.
Oh, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I appreciate you having me on the show. I had a great time.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And when we come back, it's all about your garden questions and our garden answers. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Send us an email at twvgshow@gmail.com. You can find more out at the wisconsinvegetablegardener.com.
Send your questions in now to the IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Garden Instant Access text hotline at 414-368-9311. That number again, text 414-368-9311 and send your garden question in.
Soil Diva is the best kept secret in the gardening world. Soil Diva is an all-natural liquid biological soil and plant stimulant product. Check it out at Amazon.com, search Soil Diva.
Do you have a problem with deer or small herbivores eating your vegetation? There is a natural solution that is safe for your pets and family. Bobex is the answer. An environmentally friendly solution to protect your plants, will not wash off, and is guaranteed. Bobex Deer was independently tested against 9 known competitors and rated 93% effective, second only to a physical barrier. Bobex can be used on all types of ornamentals, trees, and shrubs. Ask for it by name at your local independent garden center. Find out more, visit bobex.com. BOBBEX.com. Big Fats has a variety of unique and delicious hot sauces available in mild, medium, and hot. A small company looking to change the world with all-natural hot sauces made from quality ingredients and a whole lot of love. BigFatsHotSauce.com.
Beans and Barley Marketing Cafe, a neighborhood specialty grocery store for the east side and greater Milwaukee area, where you can find all you need, from fresh produce to bakery to organic frozen dinners, from wine to fresh squeezed carrot juice. A health food store with hundreds of products, vitamin supplements, bath and body items, magazines, cards, books, and a knowledgeable staff. Catering available, open daily at 8 a.m. The restaurant serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week with a menu of good, healthy, homemade food, including vegetarian and non-vegetarian specialties. 1901 East North Avenue, Milwaukee, 414-278-7878, and online at beansandbarley.com.
Do you want fresh produce delivered right to your neighborhood? Check out Tree Ripe Citrus Company. Find out where to pick up quality produce at tree-ripe.com. They have beautiful, tasty peaches and juicy, sweet blueberries. If you're tired of the non-taste peaches and the bad blueberries from your local grocer, Tree Ripe has what you need. They come right to a stop in your neighborhood, fresh off the truck, right from the source. To find locations and schedules, visit tree-ripe.com. They're in Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois, and right here in Wisconsin. Tree-ripe.com is your go-to place for the freshest produce around. Flame Engineering, home of the Weed Dragon, the perfect propane torch kit for home and garden use. For killing weeds, no need to pull or spray. 100 other uses. Find out more at flameengineering.com. Use coupon code WVG19 to get free shipping.
Do you seek safe, effective nutrition solutions to boost your health and quality of life? Standard Process is your trusted whole food supplement manufacturer with 90 years of expertise. Our third-generation family-owned company proudly grows nutrient-rich ingredients at our certified organic farm in Palmyra, Wisconsin, enabling us to produce high-quality whole food solutions that change lives. For help identifying the best supplements for you, find a local healthcare professional today at standardprocess.com/patients.
Feed your garden all season long with the Hydro Feed Fertilizer Injector by Chapin. Hydro Feed Injector can be filled with water-soluble fertilizer and connected to a garden hose or irrigation system, whether drip, sprinkler, or soaker hose. Fertilizer is drawn into the water system at a consistent ratio to feed and water your garden at the same time. 3 models are available for gardens of different sizes. Find Hydro Feed at the Home Depot, Ace Hardware, or www.chapinmfg.com.
Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center offers an awesome selection of high-quality garden and landscape products. We have just the plants you're looking for: annuals, perennials, veggies, herbs, and more. Plus, you can always count on us to answer all of your questions and offer expert advice. Blue Mel's also carries the largest selection of bulk landscape materials in the area. Enjoy a beverage from our coffee shop while your kids run around in our huge playground. Join our growing list of highly satisfied customers. Visit the garden center that offers everything you're looking for. Visit Blue Mel's today.
Blue Mel's, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Ivy Organics, Power Planter, Root Assassin, Beans and Barley, BioSafe, Bobex, Pomona Universal Pectin, Pro Plugger, Standard Process, Tomato Snaps. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Ivy Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields prune and damaged surfaces for use on your roses, fruit and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, visit ivorganics.com. ivorganics.com text line, and that's 414-368-9311.
A number of questions come in through social media platforms, email, website. I'm going to be doing quite a bit of container gardening, and I actually plan on putting some berry bushes in containers. What should I know? Definitely a novice here. Well, you need to have enough space. I mean, like a half of a whiskey barrel. If we're putting a raspberry plant in, for example, half of a whiskey barrel, be sure you feed it. Now, if you're growing blueberries, that's a total different type of berry plant that needs acidic soil, about a 4 to 4.5 on the acidity level.
You should definitely do your research, whatever
Yes.
you're growing, because different berries need different care, spring, fall, what have you.
Trimming back the old canes, that type of thing. So keep that in mind. From our WAAM WAAM station out of Southeast Michigan, this question came in. How much damage will a possum do in my yard and vegetation?
Well, possums are friendly friends. They eat ticks. They help prevent Lyme disease. They kill venomous snakes. They mostly eat like dead animals, insects, rodents, birds.
Scavengers. Scavengers, yeah.
But they're carnivores, so they're not necessarily going to eat what's in your garden. They're going to eat stuff that's like around your garden. Grubs. They're going to eat. They want meat. Yeah. Possums want meat. So.
Unfortunately, the possums also are known to eat cat food, dog food, if that's available, and kitchen scraps. So if you're burying like a trench method, they can dig that up and try to eat that.
But they'll eat roadkill even too.
Yeah, so but they're very beneficial. You don't want to kill them.
No, you don't want to kill them.
You can spook them away, but
don't leave dog food out.
They eat a lot of ticks. They eat a lot of beneficial insects there when it comes to it. How long are seeds good for? I was going to plant some bush bean seeds, but I realized they're about 4 years old. Well, based on the conditions in which you have stored them, greatly determines the viability in which the seed has inside of it. Typically, a seed will lose 10% of the germination rate each year. Typical bush bean plant or bush bean seed will last between 4 and 6 years if you keep it in a chilled area over the when you're not using it, crisper of a fridge and a mason jar, or just in a
definitely
cool
just away from direct sunlight, any moisture. Anything that's going to make them super hot, you want to keep them away from that.
Right. But go ahead and plant them. But I wouldn't rely, if they're that old, I wouldn't rely on the success of the germination. I would go ahead and plant them heavy, put 4 seeds in one hole, plant, and then get some good seeds from migardener.com and finish up your bed of beans, and you can plant them. You can succession plant them every week to get a harvest, because you're going to harvest them they're going to take 40 to 60 days to reach maturity, and then they'll produce for about 2 to 3 weeks, in which then you can plant more. Will the white butterfly attack my turnips and beets? And the answer is that's the cabbage white butterfly, and it is not attracted to other plants that are not in the brassica family. Attacking crops such as cabbage, turnips, Brussels sprouts, kohlrabi, and other brassicas, the white butterfly is an insect to be concerned about. The adult butterfly, however, is not directly the problem, but rather the larva. The eggs hatch underneath the leaves and begin eating the plant holes in it anywhere from 5 to 14 days after the eggs are laid. So there's different insecticides. You can cover your plants with a netting, but that is something you do want to be aware of, but it doesn't affect other plants in that family. So if you do see some eggs, you can remove up to 25% of the leaf structure on the plant and dispose of those so they do not and will not hatch and cause problems. Next question. Is it effective to create a compost pile with just grass clippings? Let's go to Standard Processes. Ben, he is the farm property supervisor there. Standard Process is your trusted whole food supplement manufacturer for over 90 years. To help identify the best supplements for you, find your local healthcare professional today. Go to standardprocess.com/patient.
This is Ben Bartlett with the Standard Process Organic Farm. Today, John from New York asks if it's effective to create a compost pile with just grass clippings, or do you need to add some ratio of browns and greens to make the compost happen? First of all, it's a great idea to use your grass clippings in this way, especially if you haven't sprayed your lawn, because they can really improve your soil and add some nutrients back. It's not a 50-50 ratio that you use. You actually need about 30 parts grass because they are mostly nitrogen and water, and then you need 1 part brown carbon, which is leaves or newspaper or some kind of dried out clippings that you can mix together. So again, 30 parts green, 1 part brown. You need to turn it pretty often, maybe a couple of times a week. It's going to get pretty warm, but it's going to break down and turn into compost that much faster. Keep it moist, but not dripping wet. That'll help the microbes that are breaking things down be alive and keep making your compost for you. Mix those grass clippings really quickly before they dry out, because then you change your green carbon into brown carbon and then your ratio will be off. So it's a great way to use your grass clippings. Just need 30 parts green, 1 part brown. Add some moisture, keep turning it and aerating it, and you're going to end up with compost that's great in no time.
Before we get into what's coming up next week on the program, Holly, remind them about the executive sponsor.
The executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show is Power Planter. Planting conditions are always favorable with the Power Planter Earth Auger. No matter what the job is, Power Planter has the right size for you. Simply attach to a drill and let the Power Planter do the work for you. Create planting holes fast and efficiently with ease. No matter the soil type, it does the job effortlessly. Increase your root to soil contact. Leave the shovel and spade in the shed. Hand welded and made in the USA, we offer a lifetime warranty on product defects. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com.
Coming up on the program next week, we're going to talk about grow your own herbs, the legal kind, and the amount of money in which you can save by doing that, as well as not all weeds are bad weeds. We'll explain. And Jessica Aldridge will be with us. She's advanced in waste. She's going to go over some of the interesting aspects of recycling, that not everything we put in the recycling bin gets recycled. Miss any portion of this program or want to revisit it in its entirety, you can do that in a couple of different ways. One, by going to your favorite podcast-providing website and searching the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. You can also go to the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, clicking on the radio tab at the top of the page for full length, or the highlight tab on the right-hand side for segments of all past shows. Until next week, for Holly Baird, I'm Joey Baird, and we will see you in the garden.
You have been listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. Tell a friend and join Joey and Holly again next week so we can all grow together. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show is a production of the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com in association with WI Garden Media Broadcasting, live from the WNOV 860 AM and the W293CX 106.5 FM, Courier Communication Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.